Hello everybody, today I'm going to be presenting the Bangladesh case study for population and the environment. So the specification says that you need to know a case study of a country or society experiencing specific patterns of overall population change and illustrating analyzed character, scale, patterns of change, relevant if environmental, socioeconomic factors and implications for the country or society. So here we've done a country, and I'm going to be posting another video that is about Ethiopia as well. So talking about Bangladesh in general, it is the 8th most populous country in the world. Its current population is 175 million, and it is predicted that in 2050 it's likely to be around 202 million. The current annual rate of population change is around 1.05% and has been slowing down as the country has moved from stage 2 to stage 3 in the demographic transition model. The birth rate is 19 out of 1,000, death rate is 5.3. 58% of the population is under 30 years old, so around this bracket, the 58% is this. However, now only 1.6 million fewer people under the age of 10 than in the 10 to 19 group, which I think is displaying this to this group, because I don't know when this textbook was written, but I don't think it's like to 2025. So Bangladesh is densely populated due to rural to urban migration, within the capital city of, I think it's Dhaka, I'm gonna just say Dhaka, 40,000 people per kilometer squared. So here I'm going to first talk about the environmental factors, and then impacts are in a different colour. So Bangladesh is small, covering less than 150,000 kilometers squared of low-lying flat land. It has a hot and wet climate. Its many rivers flood, creating fertile soils, which is great for rice crops. And in the future there are hopes of genetically modified rice and other crops to increase the yields due to the lack of space in this location. So the environmental stress changes the population distribution, where 70% live in slums in Dhaka, who need to move there because of climate change, which is leading to sea level rise, and some coastal areas have been lost to sea, and because of saltwater intrusion, which can basically ruin the soil and cause like salinization. So another reason why people have had to move is the pressure on land, where 70% of the land is used for farming, so there's little capacity for agricultural expansion. So the demand for agriculture, housing and industry has caused high rates of deforestation, where now only 11% of the country is covered in forest. This therefore leads to increasing soil erosion, with clearance of coastal mangrove forests have also led to erosion of like the coasts, and it's led to flooding and salinization. So farming has intensified, meaning that in a small area they use a lot of like fertilizers and heavy machinery, which has increased the rates of pollution from agricultural runoff. And the increasing population has led to more air pollution due to the motor vehicles just used by civilians and the intensification of farming. The annual concentration of PM2.5, which is like particulate matter in the air, is greater by 8 times than like recommended, and there's an estimate of 120,000 deaths in 2015 due to this. So some social factors. So the fertility rate used to be very high. Women became mothers at young ages due to cultural expectations of marrying young and having kids, and lack of education for women. Infant mortality rate was also high, so people had many children to ensure some survived past infancy to help family. Now the fertility rate is 2.2 births per woman. This happened because of female access to education, so they stayed longer in school, which means they married and had children later in life, and also that women became more informed about contraception, which delayed parenthood, where in 1970 the amount of people using contraceptives was less than 8%, and in 2014 it was greater than 60%. So the population is still growing because of improved healthcare, where the life expectancy is now 73 compared to 47 in 1970, and immunization programs for children against disease have increased infant mortality rate from 150 in 1970 to 32 in 2014. I know there's a lot of numbers. Unfortunately, this topic just has a lot of numbers to remember. I don't even know if I'll remember them all. Anyway, so net migration rate is negative 3.1 migrants per 1,000. So more people leave than enter, and reasons for this is for economic migration and migration to commonly to Arab Gulf states. So some social and economic impacts. So Korail is the largest slum in Dhaka with around 200,000 residents. Slums are made of poor quality housing, often lacking basic services, so like normal plumbing or electricity or water. Although sanitation is improving, provisions haven't been kept up, and only a third of the urban population have access to piped water supply. The only sewer system is in Dhaka and only serves 18% of the city. This lack of sanitation leads to transmission of waterborne diseases such as cholera. So food security percentage of stunted children fell from 55% in 1997 to 36% in 2014. And as the population slows down, it's becoming easier to sustain enough food. So it's likely that now that number is lower. The dependency ratio is falling, which is essentially the ratio of younger people caring for older people. So now there are more younger people than older people who need to be taken care of. So Bangladesh may benefit from this demographic dividend, which is that benefit of having working people, although there will have to be an investment in health and education so people work in the home country. Remittances are around $1 billion, which helps development. There's a shortage of highly skilled people due to brain drain, which is where people who are like intelligent and sort of capable of learning and sort of helping in their home country instead go to different countries to study and get qualifications, and then that essentially means that, for example, Bangladesh loses on that demographic of people, the doctors, the lawyers, the stuff like that. However, some migrants gain new skills and return to the country. So obviously both possibilities exist. So that was the end. Kind of quick one. I hope that was sort of all the information. But I also am gonna have one on Ethiopia, so that might be interesting for you too. I did some personal research on that one. But here is a past exam question you could do. And yeah, thank you.